Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. I'll repeat it again. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In answer to Arjuna's questions, Krishna clearly says that he who concentrates upon his personal form and who worships him with faith and devotion is to be considered most perfect in yoga. For one in such Krishna consciousness, there are no material activities because everything is done for Krishna. A pure devotee is constantly engaged. Sometimes he chants, sometimes he hears or reads books about Krishna, or sometimes he cooks prasadam or goes to the marketplace to purchase something for Krishna, or sometimes he washes the temple or the dishes. Whatever he does not let a single moment pass without devoting his activities to Krishna. Such action is in full samadhi. Om Ajnana Tindrasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurumritamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in dark ignorance and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Manchakalpatirudhyasya kripa sindhu bhyevacha paditana bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are just like desired trees, fulfilling the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned soul. So, ask the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas before I say a few words about this particular verse. We are reading from chapter 12, Bhagavad Gita, verse 2, and the title of this chapter is Devotional Service. So, in this particular translation, I would encourage you to keep it open, 511. If you see the translation, there are, if you can spot the word my, M-Y, how many my's are there in that translation? How many?
Sorry?
How many my's, M-Y, how many times Krishna says my in the translation?
He didn't say.
Just one.
Just once. How many times he's saying me?
Two.
Twice.
Sorry.
Okay, so here he's saying, Krishna said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and then who are engaged in worshipping me and are considered by me. So twice Krishna is using the word me and once he's using the word my. So here Prabhupada says this is the definition of a perfect devotee. So if somebody is saying I am a devotee, so we have to go introspectively and see whether we fit into this particular explanation of what Prabhupada is saying as to who is a perfect devotee. So a perfect devotee is one who is fixing their minds on his personal form, not on the impersonal form, personal form, and who are always, not sometimes, few times, always engaged in worshipping me. And that is Lord Krishna, because in the first word itself, it says the Supreme Personality of Godhead said. So it's not said by any demigod, it's not said by any sages, Supreme Personality of Godhead saying, with great and transcendental faith. So that's the key. So here, always worshipping my personal form and having transcendental faith are considered to be the perfect yogi or a perfect devotee. So Prabhupada says it's the definition of a perfect devotee. So again, Lord Krishna is saying on my personal form. So personal form means opposite of personal is impersonal. What is impersonal? Impersonal means there is no person. As you know, there is a person. Impersonal means there is no person. So impersonal is the Brahman or the Brahma Jyoti that we are all heard about. There are three aspects of God, and that is Brahman or the Brahma Jyoti. Then there is Paramatma, the super soul in the heart of every living entity. And the third one is Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here Krishna is saying a perfect devotee is one who fixes their mind on the personal form. And what is the personal form? Srila Prabhupada has repeatedly said personal form is the Shama Sundar form. Shama Sundar form. What is Shama Sundar? Shama means dark and Sundar means beautiful. So what is the most beautiful form of Lord Krishna? So from Vedic literature we understand the beautiful full moon in autumn. That's how Krishna's face is, as beautiful as full autumn moon. He's got shark-shaped earrings. In the Damodarashtakam Leela we know, he's got shark-shaped earrings. He's got gunjaberry necklace. He's got beautiful fresh forest flower garlands. And these garlands are circled by intoxicated bees. And then he's got this beautiful black, curly, shiny locks of hair on his head, and which are bedecked with beautiful plumes of peacock. Then he's got this beautiful yellow garments that defeat the freshly formed lightning. So these are all the beautiful features of Krishna. That is the personal form of Krishna. So we have to worship the personal form of Krishna, not the impersonal Brahman or the Brahmajyoti, which is nothing but the light emanating. Prabhupada says Brahmajyoti is the light emanating from Krishna. But then the highest form of worship is worshipping the actual form of the Lord, which is the Shama Sundar form of the Lord. Shama means dark and Sundar means beautiful. The Shama Sundar form of the Lord is again the beautiful autumn moon-like face, the shark-shaped earring, the gunjaberry necklace, the forest garland, the threefold bending form, the beautiful flute that he's got, and this wonderful lips of Lord Krishna. These are all the beautiful features of Lord Krishna. So we have to meditate on the personal form of the Lord. And so here it is said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always, not sometimes, not few times, always engaged in worshipping me. Worshipping is, we know, there are 9 main forms of devotional service, and worship is the fifth form of worship. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. These are the 9 forms of worship. By now all of us should know this by heart. And what are they? Hearing, chanting, remembering. Vishnu Smaranam means Vishnu, remembering of Vishnu. Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Then 5th one is what we are saying, worshipping. 6th one is offering prayers. 7th form of worship is becoming a devotee. 8th form of worship is becoming a friend of the Lord. And 9th is offering everything to the Lord, Atma Nivedanam. So an example of Atma Nivedanam was by Maharaj Ambarish, because with his eyes he saw the Lord, with his mouth he chanted the glories of the Lord, and he ate the prasadam with the tongue, with the ears he heard the wonderful pastimes of the Lord from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, with his legs he walked to the temple of the Lord, with the hands he washed the temple of the Lord. So he offered everything to the Lord. So those are the 9 forms of devotional service. And Prithu Maharaj attained salvation just by worshipping. So that is what Krishna is saying here. Who are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith. So faith, if we don't have faith, we cannot progress in Krishna consciousness. Faith is the foundation of everything. Just in a building, there is a big building that is being built, 10-storied building. If the foundation is not strong, the whole building collapses. So faith is the foundation in Krishna consciousness. When we start in Krishna consciousness, sometimes it's very confusing. How is it possible? Because we are always judging based on our limited sense perception. So what is sense perception? What we can see with our eyes, what we can hear with our ear, what we can smell with our nose, what we can taste with our tongue, what we can touch and feel. Those are sense perception. And then all of a sudden you're hearing from all these Vedic literatures, Krishna lifted the huge Govardhan hill in his left pinky for 7 days and 7 nights. So the beginning stages, it's like, wow, what is this? Come on, give me a break. How is it possible? Because we are again judging by what we can do or we cannot do. We cannot even lift this with our left pinky. Right? We cannot do that. And then we hear Krishna's got 16,108 wives, and from each wife he's got 10 children and 10 grandchildren. Because we all know somebody who's got 2 wives and they have so much trouble, from both of them, or somebody's got 2 girlfriends or boyfriends. So again, we are judging by our limited sense perception. And we hear from Chaitanya Charitamrita about how Brahma sees other Brahmas. Our Brahmas got 4 heads. That itself is beyond our sense perception. How can somebody have 4 heads? Even we have difficulty in brushing one teeth in one head. Just imagine he has to, 4 heads, 4 sets of teeth. So, and then in that pastime we know about Brahma who sees 10-headed Brahma, 100-headed Brahma, 1,000,000-headed Brahma. So again, it's beyond our sense perception. How is it possible? We again think, so many heads when we have, how do we go from one room to another room? It'll bang on the wall. Again, that is our sense perception based on what we know. As Prabhupada says, the Dr. Frog. Dr. Frog, if you've heard that story, where there is a frog in a well, and he knows only that well. He thinks that well is the ocean, is the world, is the universe, everything is that particular well. And he's born and brought up there. He's never been out of the well. And then there is another frog that comes from outside and he falls into the well. And he asks, hey, where are you coming from? The other frog that just jumped in and said, I'm coming from Pacific Ocean. Pacific Ocean, how big is this? As big as this well? He's saying, no, way bigger. What way bigger? Maybe 2 times bigger than this? No, way bigger. So he's never been out of this thing. So his limited sense of perception is that. When we hear Brahma's age is 311 trillion and 40 billion years. Come on. 311 trillion and 40 billion years. All we know is somebody living for 80 years, 70 years. Give it some more, 100, 120 years. What is this 311 trillion and 40 billion? We don't even know how many zeros are there, right? Again, this is according to our sense perception. What we can see, what we can hear, what we can touch, what we are perceiving, logically thinking what is right. But then we have quoted this example before, mayfly. Mayfly is a fly that lives for 30 minutes. He's born, he procreates, he has got a family, he builds his house, everything, and then he dies in 30 minutes, within 30 minutes. And it's not just one mayfly that lives like this. For centuries, mayfly is still there. Today also mayflies are there. It is born and it is dead in 30 minutes. It sleeps in between for a few seconds. According to the lifespan, it does everything. Has a wonderful physical union with his wife, produces kids, children. We still have mayflies. So go and tell a mayfly that human being lives 80 years. There is some living entity living for 80 years. They'll say, what is this? He's joking. That's how we think about Lord Brahma. Right? It's beyond our sense perception. Housefly lives for 1 month. இந்த வீட்டில் ஈ வந்துட்டு ஒரு தடவை நீ வந்தனா அடுத்த மாதத்துக்கு உங்கள் வீட்டுக்கு ஒரு ஃப்ளை வந்தால் அதை நீங்கள் போன மாதம் பார்த்த ஃப்ளை இல்லை. அந்த ஃப்ளை இஸ் டெட் ஆல்ரெடி. இட்ஸ் another fly. Life span of a fly is 1 month. So beyond our sense perception. So we need to have faith in the words of God. Words of God is beyond sense perception because God is beyond sense perception. We cannot logically conclude how there is God, why there is God. So faith is important. For those of you who got medical background or who have had physics or biology or even chemistry in your growing up years, you would have heard about placebo effect and nocebo effect. Anybody heard placebo? So placebo effect is scientifically proved that it's true, even though there is no basis behind that. Placebo effect is something when a doctor actually gives you nothing but a sugar candy, there is no medicine inside, and he tells you, here it is, your biggest problem in your life, your physical condition will be better by this, perennial headache, whatever you may have, you will be perfectly alright, take this medicine. If you firmly believe in that, you will be cured. That is called placebo effect. So for those of you who want to know more, you can go to the web and put placebo effect, Placebo. Placebo. So it depends on the firm conviction that you have in something that will happen. If you think that it will happen, it will happen. So just imagine a doctor is scribbling in a notepad and he's giving it to you. And then you go buy the medicine. You have no idea what are the medical ingredients in that. You take that and you have it and you're cured because you have the confidence. So this works in this way. The physician has got firm belief in that particular treatment and you have firm faith in the doctor, and together mutually this reinforces an effect that is beyond logic. So the person gets cured. So scientifically it's proved placebo effect, that is placebo effect. So the firm belief in something that will happen, it will happen. So if you think that the deities here are made of stone, it is stone. If you firmly believe based on what is there in the Shastras, that it is actually the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that deity form, then it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the deity form. So we have a pastime, we'll try to narrate that as to how the deity is actually the form of the Lord. So, and the opposite of placebo effect is nocebo effect. Nocebo effect means if you firmly believe that something bad will happen, it will happen. Same thing, if the doctor is saying, he's giving you a great medicine and he says, your headache, permanent headache that you have will get cured, but you will have loose stomach problem. You'll have a stomach problem. Even though he may say you may have a stomach problem, you are tuned into that, you have faith in that, your headache will go, but your stomach problem will start because you are tuned into that. Sometimes the doctor says, you are a terminally ill patient, you will die in 3 months. You will somehow make that happen by having the firm faith in what the doctor is saying. So we need to transport that firm faith in the Word of God, in what is there in the Vedic literature. Now, how can you increase your faith? That's the next question. How do I increase the faith? The seed of faith within our heart is watered. The seed of faith within our heart is watered by hearing from the devotees who have firm faith. So if you associate with devotees who have firm faith in the Lord, in the descriptions of the Lord, in the words of God, then we get faith. It is said, who we are is who we associate with. If you associate with people who always drink, you'll become drunkard. If you associate with people who are, if a new student joins the school and the top 10 students are very brilliant, and if he doesn't move with them, if he always engages with the last 10 students who are not going to school properly, who doesn't get good marks, he always talks to them, associate with them, he will get the low marks. If he associates with, it's all verified, it's all proved. So who we are is who we associate with. So if you associate with devotees who have dedicated their life for propagating the names of the Lord, who are preaching the mission of Srila Prabhupada, who are serving their Guru and the Acharyas in the Parampara system, then we water the seed of faith in our heart. That's how it works. So that's how we increase faith. And faith is also a result of determination. Faith is an end product of determination. What is determination? Determination is tapasya, austerity. When we chant, early morning we chant 16 rounds. That is determination. And from when you're determined to chant, on Ekadasi you sacrifice the grains, you sacrifice the food. On Nirjala Ekadasi we sacrifice the drinking of water. From there comes faith. So this verse again, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. So placebo and nocebo effect we have seen. So I would like to, we have 20 more minutes, I would like to narrate a wonderful pastime from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes actually, because we are all slowly gearing up to coming Thursday. Coming Thursday is the very, very auspicious birth day of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we're going to have a grand festival, not on Thursday, but on Friday, right here, starting at 6:30 p.m. So let's get warmed up to the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with this wonderful, wonderful poem written by Krishnadas. He's a contemporary of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you may have heard some of the lectures by Srila Prabhupada or by our Acharyas about this particular pastime, wonderful pastime. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 526 years. So we normally say 500 years ago. It's actually 526 years ago that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, because his birth year was 1486. So 2012 minus 1486 is 526 years ago. He was born in West Bengal. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Lord Krishna, who came in the mood and the complexion of Srimati Radharani, his consort and the greatest worshipper of the Lord. And together they came to give the perfect love from Goloka Vrindavan to the beings in earth. And when the Lord comes, he always comes with his entourage of eternal devotees and other paraphernalia. So when the Lord comes, he does not come alone. So he came with Lord Balram in the form of Lord Nityananda. and the other associates, eternal permanent associates of the Lord. Advaita Acharya is a combined incarnation of Lord Vishnu and Sadasiva. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara is none other than Srimati Radharani herself. So she came in the combined form with Krishna as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and by herself in the form of Gadadhar. And Srivas is none other than Narada Muni. And then he came with Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur is none other than a combined incarnation of Brahma and Prahlad Maharaj. And like that, the eternal associates, the Ashtasakis, also came, and some of them who came not in the female body but in the male body, and they are Swarup Damodar Das and Vakreshwar Pandit. They are all Ashtasakis. Then like that, there are several associates of the Lord who came, and then there are the main Manjaris, Ashta Manjaris, the main Manjaris. They are eternal girls between 10 and 14 years who serve especially Srimati Radharani. And the Ashta Manjaris came, and the Ashta Manjaris, who are they? 6 Goswamis or 6 out of 8 Manjaris. The 7th one was Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then Lokanath Goswami, who is the spiritual master of Narottam Das Thakur. He is the 8th Manjari. So, and then there are also 12 Dwadasa Gopal. They are eternal friends of Lord Krishna. They play wonderfully well in Yamuna. And one of the Dwadasa Gopal is Shubala. And this Shubala came in the form of Gauridas Pandit. Has anybody heard the name Gauridas Pandit? Gauridas Pandit is an eternal associate of the Lord. So he lived in a place called Ambika Kalna. Ambika Kalna is a place near Mayapur. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was 24 years of age, he decided to take sannyas. Shave his beautiful hair, so he decided to take sannyas. And it was done in Katwa. I've been to that place near Mayapur. It's about a couple of hours from Mayapur, Katwa. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to take sannyas. So at that time, he wanted to bid farewell to Gauridas Pandit. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu themselves came paddling in a boat, and they came from Shantipur, crossing Ganges, and they came to this Ambika Kalna. And then what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? He took the oar, the oar to row the boat. He took the oar and he gave it to Gauridas Pandit, and he said, now cross the ocean of material ocean with this oar. Cross the ocean of material ocean with this oar, and with you take all the living entities with you. Such an exalted devotee is this Gauridas Pandit. Supreme Personality of Godhead has said, you deliver everyone with the potency that I am giving to you. So the Lordship, after spending some time with Gauridas Pandit, then they decided to leave because they have to, save the rest of humanity. They said, we can't stay here, we'll have to leave. Thank you. At that time, Gauridas Pandit fell at their feet and cried tears of separation. He couldn't bear the impending separation of the Lord from him. He could not. So he tightly clasped their feet and he was begging for them to stay, not to leave. And he said, do not try the same trick that you did with the gopis. With the gopis you did like this and you went, don't try that. I order you, I beg you. He tried every means. And then the Lord is Bhaktavatsal. Very, very fortunate devotees, they get blessing from the Lord. That's why it's called Bhaktavatsal. So they were captured by the love of his affection of the devotee. So what did they say? Okay, you want us to stay here? No problem. We will manifest 2 beautiful deities, exact replica, exact deities like us. They are non-different than us. Exactly, we are there in the deity form, and we will manifest the deities there. So then Gauridas Pandit did not have an option. So what did he do? He said, okay, if you are manifesting 2 deities, that's okay. If they're exactly, your potency is there, no problem. So what did the 2 lords do? Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya, they raised their hand. In the classic pose that you see there, in the classic Kirtan pose, they raised their hands, and from there, 2 deities manifested. From there, 2 of them manifested. So 2 of the lords are raising their hands up like the deities, and 2 of them or with their arms down. So there are 2 Lord Nityananda and 2 Lord Gauranga. And they said, okay, these 2 Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda, not different from us, in the deity form, they will stay here and both of us have to leave. Then he wanted more of their association. So Gauridas Pandit said, I'm going to make a grand feast, please stay here. So he made a wonderful feast, and four of them were there. 4 of them had the grand feast, and after that he offered them sandalwood pulp on their arms, and then he offered the most fragrant lotus garland and tambula and everything. And then the 2 lords said, okay, we have to take leave now. You have both of us here, so we are leaving. So they started walking. He jumped and fell in their feet again. You said, lords, you said the deity forms are not different from you. So you stay here, let them go. You stay here, let them go. Then the Lord said, no, they are we are there personally present in the deity form, so don't worry. No, you said the same. You stay here, let them go. So what did they do? They were walking. So they put their arms up. They transformed themselves into the deity form. And the deity forms who were standing like this with their arms raised, they put their hands down. They started walking towards the exit. Again he jumped and fell in their feet. No, you stay here, let them go. Then it continued back and forth, back and forth. He wanted the deity forms to go and the real physical form of the Lordship to stay. But they are showing to him that both are the same. Both of us are the same. Then finally, after it went back and forth few times, then he finally came to the conclusion that they are the same. So he said, okay. Then they took leave of the Lord, of Gauridas Pandit, and the 2 lords left. So he was doing wonderful service to this deity form of Lord Nityananda and Lord Gauranga. And after a few years, so years went by, they will personally come, even though the deity form, when he's offering bhoga, they will personally come have bhoga. That was his devotion. And then once they wanted to revive his Vrindavan concept, so they came, Lord Nityananda and Lord Gauranga suddenly transformed themselves to Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram. They came up with this cow horn, with a stick in the hand, with a flute in the hand, and with this forest flower, and bedecked with feathers. So they came up here and they told, you don't remember yourself, you're Subala, our friend, eternally you're our friend. We used to play in Yamuna, banks of Yamuna every day. And then he was enjoying that particular pastime, and then evening time, the lords decided, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram decided to go back to the altar in the form of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this shows that they're not different. Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram are exactly Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda. So they went back. And after a few years, he doesn't work. He's a poor man, Gauridas Pandit. He did not have any money. So he was thinking, they are the Lord of the world, and I don't have money to give them the best dress, give them the most opulent ornaments and jewelry. And he was thinking, in that helpless condition, he went to buy some grocery to make bhoga. And then when he came back, before he came back, the 2 lords got dressed in the most opulent jewelry, opulent ornaments, greatest dhoti and beautiful ornaments and jewelry were on them. They went back to the altar. And then he's coming and he's stunned to see that the lords have transformed in a majestic fashion. Just because he was thinking that way, they wanted to, make the devotee happy. Few years passed and he's getting older and older at that time. What happens, he's offering 12 preparations. He offers 12 preparations for the lords every day. And once they refused to eat. And then he said, I don't know what sin I committed. He fell at their feet and he said, I will die if you don't eat the bhoga. Please forgive my sins. Please tell me, I can correct it. Then the lords appeared and they said, you are old. We don't want you to go through this trouble of making 12 preparations for us every day. All we are asking is very simple preparation. Lord says 9.26 patram pushpam palam toyam. Just give me flower or fruit or leaf or water, I am satisfied. All he needs is love and devotion. So after that he said, okay, if that is the case, I'll just make shak. Shak is that greenery preparation that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loves. He says, I'll make shak in a banana leaf and offer it to you. He had many disciples, and one disciple his name is Hrdaya Chaitanya. And it's very fascinating to know how that name perfectly fits in Hrdaya Chaitanya. So it was a time of Gaura Purnima. So by this time, the lords have finished their earthly pastimes. This is many, many years after the Lord finished their pastimes. They've gone back to Goloka Vrindavan. But he's continuing his deity, and then when he's deity worship, and when he's offering Bhoga, they come and personally have Bhoga. And he had a disciple, his name was Hrdaya Chaitanya, and then at that time Gaura Purnima is coming. Just like it's coming on Thursday, Gaura Purnima was coming, and then Gauridas Pandit told Hrdaya Chaitanya's disciple that I want to have a wonderful celebration on the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya. And then he went to a nearby village to his disciple's house, and at that time was running, only 3 more days were there. So he was missing for about 3 days. 3 more days are there for Gaura Purnima, and he wanted this to be in a grand manner. So what did Hrdaya Chaitanya do? He sent invitations by himself, because his Guru Maharaj is not there. He sent the invitation to all the disciples far and wide, saying there's going to be a grand Gaura Purnima celebration. Just after he sent the invitation, his Guru Maharaj Gauridas Pandit came, and he said, though he was very happy internally that his disciple took this ownership and sent this proactively, but externally he pretended to be angry. And a curse of a major devotee is always a blessing. So we've seen from history, when it's a curse by an exalted devotee, it's always a blessing. So Narada Muni cursed Nalakuvara and Manigriva, and what happened to them? Lord Krishna personally delivered them. Agastya Muni cursed King Indradumna to become Gajendra the elephant, and then Devala Rishi cursed King Uhu to become a crocodile, and they were personally delivered by Lord Vishnu, Narayan. So great devotees' curse is always a blessing, and in this case also it turned out to be a blessing. So he said, you made this decision by yourself. I don't want you to stay here. Go away from here. Go live under the tree in the Ganges. So he goes, he falls at his feet, and he asks for forgiveness for the sin that he committed, and then he takes leave. He goes and stays near Ganges underneath the tree. A rich businessman, one of the most richest businessmen, comes, and he brings in bundles and bundles of whatever the currency that they had at that time, or coins. So much money he wanted to offer to Hrdaya Chaitanya. And he said, give it to your Guru Maharaj. And Hrdaya Chaitanya said, thank you, but we are sannyasis, we don't need. Go ask my Guru Maharaj if he can accept it. So he went to Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj said, no, go back to Hrdaya Chaitanya and give it to him. And he told him personally, accept it and use it for this grand festival. So the grand festival takes place with that money that was given, and the chanting starts. The kirtan was, it's reaching a crescendo. Amazing kirtan with so much love, devotion, and enthusiasm. There's so much of kirtan going on with all these exalted devotees coming from different areas. And at that very crescendo of, the climax of this great kirtan, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Mahaprabhu themselves appear in the midst of everybody, and then they started dancing with all the devotees, and the devotees could not believe. Their jaws dropped, they're shivering, they're sweating. They couldn't believe this, because the lords have disappeared many years ago. But then because in Padma Puran the Lord says, Naham tistami vaikunte yoginam hridayesua tatra tistami narada yatra gayanti madbhakta. My dear Narada, I do not live in my abode Vaikuntha, nor do I reside in the hearts of the yogis, but I reside where my devotees chant my holy name and sing my glories and my pastimes. So when we have wonderful kirtan here, Lord Krishna is personally present, because that's what he is told in Padma Puran. So at that time, Gauridas is the priest of the temple, and he is going inside the temple. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are not there. They are gone, because they are going and dancing. They physically left the altar and they are dancing with all the devotees. So he told Gauridas Pandit, I think to increase the love of Hrdaya Chaitanya, they have gone from the altar. So he takes the stick and he runs. Gauridas Pandit takes the stick and he runs, chasing after Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, because he's old. If they leave him, he's dead, he's gone. So he runs behind, taking the stick. And there is a big semicircle there of devotees, thousands and thousands of devotees, and both the lords are dancing for the pleasure of all the devotees. He takes the stick, and then they see him. They could not go anywhere else. So what did they do? They jumped into the heart. They went into the temple of the heart of Hrdaya Chaitanya. Hrdaya means heart, and Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, they went into the heart of this disciple or the devotee Hrdaya Chaitanya. Immediately, Gauridas Pandit comes, falls at the feet of his disciple. Guru Maharaj falls at the feet of his disciple because what an exalted disciple he is for the lords to take shelter of him, to hide in his heart. And immediately as the lords went into the heart, from the heart they got transported or transformed into the deities again back into the altar. And wonderful, wonderful Gaura Purnima celebration took place. So from this, it's not only in Hrdaya Chaitanya's heart that the Lord is there. The Lord is there in everyone's heart as Paramatma. And from this pastime which happened, we know that the deity form is non-different from the actual form of Lord Nityananda and Gauranga, and they are actually non-different from Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram. As you can see in that they came out of the deity form and then they took the form of Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna. And also, whatever Lakshmi we have or money when we have, it is for us to spend whatever we can for the pleasure of the devotees and for the pleasure of the Lord. So this is a wonderful, wonderful pastime from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time. So this vindicates or justifies how non-different it is from the deities that we see every day. So when you see this classic portion of of them raising their arms, you can always remember this particular pastime. Hare Krishna.